Panzer's Picks is a lighthearted show focused on sports commentary and entertainment. At Cathedral, we do not promote or endorse any form of gambling. Our goal is to foster a fun and engaging conversation around sports while spreading joy and building community. Please enjoy the show responsibly. It is for entertainment purposes only.
Everybody knows one
the
take.
rules. Welcome, sports fans and studio audience, coffee enthusiasts, and those just looking to kill time on YouTube to this week's edition of Panzer's Picks, episode 10. We made it. How we feeling?
Feel great. La DIEZ.
La DIEZ, coming to you from the heart of Johnny Mac's Coffeehouse here at Cathedral High School. I'm your host, Coach Freytag, alongside the star of our show, Coach Panzer, who's always ready to break down a bunch of these week's top games. We start with a random starting question. This week's random starting question, we're sticking with Christmas. What's your favorite Christmas tradition?
I'll reiterate, I'm not really a big Christmas guy, but I like the milk and cookies the night before. You leave out some milk and cookies for Santa when he comes and drops off maybe a little grass for the reindeer in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's a tradition unlike any other.
What kind of cookies do we leave him?
Oh, chocolate chip. Chocolate chip, standard operating procedure. You got to go chocolate chip.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We're not communists in the Panzer house. Chocolate chip cookies.
All right. Okay. All right. But before we jump into this week's games, let's talk about last week's Panzer Parlay. We had a big championship weekend. We did okay. We went 5 for 8, which is above 50%, which is always a winner. Let's break down some of our games last week. How we feel about it?
A couple of just heartbreak games, which that's why you play the game. It's for the fun. Indiana game, DePaul. Coach, I've been around a lot of football games. You have the ball on the 1 yard line with 28 seconds left, and you end up not winning the game. It was an unbelievable finish. Big Ten was an easy call. Loved Arizona State showing up. That was great. Clemson, right? Everyone didn't have Clemson, but we called Clemson. That was great. Boise State dominating. But kudos to Army, Georgia, and Ohio. And Texas had every opportunity to win that game, and they didn't. That's why we play the game. Hey, and shout out to New York Rangers. There you go,
Rangers,
Dad.
Baby. We were 1 for 1 at one point. Week 9, Panzer Parlay, 5 for 8, above 50%. Panzer is still a winner, 100% of the time. Never lost. Lavar Ball.
Never lost.
Never lost. All right. Just remind the Panzer Parlay is always a winner. Lavar Ball, never lost. We like those odds. All right. Let's get into Week 10.
Ready. I'm ready.
DIEZ. We got some. I wouldn't say big time games, but it's a different plate this week. But
changing it up a little bit.
We're juiced up. We're diverse. All right, we're going to start with our Indiana game. NBA basketball, National Basketball Association. The Indiana Pacers versus the 76ers Friday night. Who's winning?
Both teams coming off 3 to 4 days of rest. The Pacers have been terrible on the road, but the Sixers have been terrible at home. Pacers have lost 4 of 5. Sixers have won 4 of 5. It's the NBA. The regular season doesn't really matter, and we don't know which team really cares that night. The Sixers beat the Pacers earlier in the season in overtime thriller. There's no reason the Sixers lose on Friday night. Sixers to beat the Pacers on Friday night.
Is Allen Iverson still playing for the 76ers?
I couldn't name you one Sixer.
Joel Embiid. Okay. Moving on. Here we go. Big Ten game. We got college men's basketball. We got a rivalry game in the heart of America. Iowa State versus the Hawkeyes of Iowa. Who's winning?
Cyclones, only one loss this season at number 4 Auburn. Just recently knocked off number 5 Marquette. Iowa is 7-2, 6-0 at home. It's a rivalry game. Most recent loss was to Michigan. Both teams are nearly identical in points scored. ISU has a better defense. The Iowa State Cyclones to win the game.
Ooh, Cyclones, like that pick. Big game of the week. This is the one that we're juiced up about. One of the greatest rivalries in college football. Army versus Navy. Break it down. Who's winning? Where we go? Who we got?
In this game, America wins.
No doubt.
But 8-3 Navy versus 11-1 Army. Navy has lost 3 of 5. Army's only loss this year coming at the hands of Notre Dame because all Notre Dame does is win. 125th meeting of the rivals. Navy leads the series. Games being played at Landover, Maryland, the home of the Washington Commanders, home of Terry McLaurin of Cathedral Connection. Great game for Cathedral also. We got a lot of kids at both academies.
All right.
Both teams are going bowling. It's a great game, great atmosphere, great rivalry. Look for the Army Knights to win their 3rd in a row. As always, America wins.
America wins. America wins. We like those odds. Our Panzer Parlay for Week 10, DIEZ is plus 174, picking the 76ers, Iowa State, and Army. Now let's move on to our random game. This one, this is probably one of our best random games, I'd say, but we got the Cathedral Baby Drop-In. Which baby will weigh the most? Cook, Darnold, Wooden, or Green? Who we picking?
It's one of the more bizarre questions of all time on this show, but got to stick with Loretto Hall, never lost. Mrs. Cook, you will have the baby drop-in.
All right, there's
but we're all hoping for happy, healthy babies.
Exactly. That's what we want. Before we close it up, next week is our season finale. We will have the Panzer Playoff Pick Parlay, the PPP next week, our biggest show of the year. But for that, before we get to that, this is a wrap for this week's episode of Panzer's Picks. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Johnny Mac's Coffeehouse, for letting us film our show, and Coach O'Hara's Pick'em League for providing our biggest following on YouTube and paying for my diapers this month. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Johnny Mac Coffee. Shout out to our girl Kat, our camera crew. Follow on Instagram. We will see you next week for Panzer's Playoff Pick Parlay and our season finale. Thanks for watching Panzer's Picks.